In a previous video, we talked about how we were going to find the values for these inverse trig functions. And so what I'll do right now is I'll bring in the drawing associated with the inverse trig function for inverse cosecant, which is what we're asked here. We're trying to find the inverse cosecant of 2 squared root of 3 over 3. We're working towards kind of memorizing and learning how to figure these out without an aid. But for now, we're using the aid that we drew, which was our picture. I'm going to bring that in, and then we'll take a look at how we answer this question. Bam, there it is. So remember that and I don't have I must have cut off the legend, but remember that the inverse cosecant values were these blue ones that we wrote in, okay? And so what we want to do is we want to look for a blue value that's 2 square root of 3 over 3. So I look at all these blue values, and I look up here near the top, and 2 square root of 3 over 3 is listed there. The angle that it's associated with is pi over 3. That is the only angle that we can use to answer this question, which happens to be letter B. And of course, we'll write letter B in the box. And then if we're using the zip grade, we'll bubble it in or we'll enter it online. But that's how you use the chart. You figure out which function you're using. We are using inverse cosecant. You find the value that you're trying to find the angle for. Our value was 2 square root of 3 over 3, which is right here. And then we find the associated angle, which is pi over 3. Remember, we're trying to answer our angle questions in radians, but this one's also associated with 60 degrees if you're wondering how big the angle is in degrees. So that's how you use the chart. Let's check out another example. When you get to number 11 on the assignment, the questions start looking different, and so are the instructions. So it says solve the equation, and we're given this equation, CSC theta equals negative square root of 2. That is just code for use your inverse trig function to solve the problem. So just like algebra, when we're solving an equation, we do inverse operations to solve for our variable. We're going to do inverse function here to solve for our variable. So our variable, theta, is actually going to be whatever the answer to the inverse cosecant of negative square root of 2 is. So the first thing we'll do is convert the equation into an inverse trig function so that we can find the value from our new chart that we made. Let me bring the chart in right now. Again, for inverse cosecant, we are using the right side of the chart, and we're going to look at the blue numbers because those are our inverse cosecant numbers. This time I'm looking for negative square root of 2. I see that it's right here, which is associated with negative pi over 4. So I look for my answers, and you can see the solution, negative pi over 4, is listed here, so I'm going to choose letter B. So because we're finding solutions for theta, sometimes answers will be written in set notation, and we would call this the solution set. So don't be freaked out by these curly braces. They just mean that all of the answers that are possible are included inside those. In this case, the only answer we have is negative pi over 4. That is the only answer. Don't be tricked by this guy. Our functions only return one value. So any multiple choice that has two answers there is not even valid. Just ignore it. Now, this one could be possible, except that we found out it wasn't. And no solution is also possible, right? Because those undefined ones or other numbers that aren't on our chart, you'll see no solution might be an option. So, but for this problem, we found it on the chart. It was negative pi over 4, and the answer is B. Okay, let's do one more example, and I'll show you one that uses the top part of the chart. In this problem, again, the instructions say to solve the equation, and we're going to find theta between 0 and pi, which is good. That's the top part of our chart that we've been talking about. We are supposed to find a cotangent of theta. We're supposed to solve cotangent of theta equals negative square root of 3 over 3. And so, first we're going to convert this equation, cotangent theta equals negative square root of 3 over 3, into an inverse trig statement. And so we do inverse trig to solve the equation. We use the inverse cotangent. in this case, of negative square root of 3 over 3. For that, we need the bottom part of the chart. So let me bring in the bottom, the top part of the chart. We don't use the bottom. We use the top or the right. So we're going to use the top because this is a cotangent function. I'll bring it in right now. Bam, there it is. So this is the top of the chart that we made on the other video. And all we're going to do is search for our cotangent number with a negative square root of 3 over 3. We said that we said that cotangent was black. I meant to highlight that, not cross it off. So we said that cotangent was black, so we're going to look at the black numbers, and we're searching for negative square root of 3 over 3. Ooh, we already used it. There it is again, and that means the answer to this one is 2 pi over 3. So 2 pi over 3 is right here. It's letter D. I'll put D in the box. I'll put it on my zip grade, and we're good to go. Okay, this video was shorter than the last one, thank goodness. But I wanted to give you some examples of how we're supposed to crank out these answers. Once you get the hang of it, these should go fast. I'm just trying to get you used to producing these inverse trig values, which are all angles, and they're all angles in radians. We did it in multiple choice this time so I could quickly use the zip grade to get an indication of how the class is doing if there are any problems that we're getting stuck on. And then later we'll have some free response problems that we'll have to work on as well. Okay, take care for now.